Our dear guests and colleagues, I feel honored and in the same time a big responsibility to be part of WISTA International. Today I'm going to touch a subject which is a little bit controversial in the industry, but I have been facing it since I started my career. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Alexandra. I'm a third officer. I work on passenger ships at the moment. I started my career 5 years ago and I passed throughout different types of ships like ro-ro packs and container carriers, and in the end now in the passenger industry in the cruise life. Today's topic, it's unconscious bias, which I have been facing it and I feel like it's a little bit underrated and it needs to be more than awaked. Look at us, life is so crowded, so busy, we live our life on daily basis, assumption, traditions, on the way we grow, whatever pops up in the day, you don't know, the lesson learned you have in life, so you create your own background. What if I tell you that daily we have 16,000 thoughts and 14,000 of them are the same thoughts from yesterday or from the day before? So it means like we are spinning in some kind of a circle. We follow just our mindset on the spot like we are on autopilot. So let me give you an example. For instance, you have driving license or you ever ride a bicycle, but you don't learn how to drive it every day. You did your reflexes once, you put yourself into the chair and then you start driving without thinking that from where this comes on or how can you improve your driving skills. You simply drive. And in your mind, while driving, pop up totally different stuff. And you know what? The majority of the accidents happen because our reflexes haven't been awakened. It's because we were on this kind of autopilot. Let me tell you something about our identity and how it's created. On board, I work with maybe 96 different nationalities at the same time. And the thing is that, we come from a different side of the world and we grow up differently. We have different religions, different sects, we have different traditions. So you have to understand everybody and try to be polite and in the same time not to discriminate. Even that it might be just by chance you do something which you don't feel like it's offending, but you don't know how the other one is feeling because you are in this autopilot. So your identity, it's based upon your values, beliefs, behavior, experiences, and of course on your expectations. What we have to do in order to get out of this circle is first of all to recognize and accept the fact that this unconscious bias exists in us. First thing comes first, just accept it, it's here. Okay, let's see how we can fix it, because if you don't accept it, it's like you'll be still on autopilot for your whole life. Second thing on the list is to develop the capacity of putting a flashlight on yourself. What if somehow maybe you are doing something wrong? What if other people see you in a wrong way, or maybe they do something that offends you without thinking? So first of all, you have to put a flashlight on yourself. It's like you put a flashlight under your chin and you watch into the mirror and you see yourself. You see your shadows, you see your face, you see your behaviors, and so on. Third thing on the list is to practice some constructive uncertainty. Okay, you see somebody, you already have your mindset regarding this person just by knowing nationality, seeing the skin color, some clothing or whatever. Imagine that you have to meet with a person in a blind date, for instance, a person from Sweden. And then in your mind pops out a very tall guy, like a Viking, and maybe he's blonde because he's coming from Sweden, it's North country, and all of a sudden in front of you appears one person which has a different skin tone of color, a little bit brownish, and it's wearing the wrap clothing. And he's telling you that he's Swedish, 100%. He lived in Sweden for his whole life. You'll feel awkward in that moment because you haven't practiced this constructive uncertainty. Just don't make up your mind on nobody before you see it. You have to explore and to exploit the discomfort by passing throughout this unconscious bias. Okay, we admit it exists, we develop this flashlight, we know ourselves, we know our faces, and we practice this uncertainty, but then you have to face the discomfort of getting out of the circle. Fifth thing that I want to tell you regarding this unconscious bias is to engage the other into conversation, to get to meet and to present yourself in a positive role. This means that being in a positive role, it's admitting that even you come from this country, you have this gender, you have this religion, and some people may think of you this and that. So it's kind of, okay, I admit I have a preconcept. Maybe before I work with your nationality, I work with somebody who looked similar like you, but I changed my mind regarding this kind of persons because you gave a positive way, and I also had this issue in the past. So just admit it and engage the positive role between the relationship among you. The sixth one and the last is to get the feedback. Sometimes the feedback is not so nice. Maybe you'll receive a feedback which might hurt you. But in order to move over in your self-development, it will not be a paved road. Maybe it will be like a bumpy one, like climbing a mountain and then, falling down and then climbing again. Like this is Sisyphus. So just be patient with yourself, get a feedback, and try to understand how to move over and self-develop your lesson learned. So, my dear guests, please take your time not to be on autopilot. Take your time to self-develop yourself. This kind of conferences give a lot of help. And to be honest, now that I have seen very few conferences on maritime environment basis, I realized that in the shore side and seaside, job-wise, we kind of behave same. Of course, we have our own particularities on board because here life can be a little bit more hostile, but job-wise, trust me, we work with people, we have unconscious bias. Maybe here it's a little bit more accelerated, proportional to the time that you spend cast away from your comfort zone. This is Third Officer Alexandra, out.
Thank you. You are welcome. If you can give some replies or opinions for the chat.
Yeah, I've seen some people talking about the multinational crew. Well, how I see it, I work on board sometimes with 96 different nationalities. Imagine how many of us we are and coming from different sides of the world with so much different mentality. How I see it working with multinational crew is I start to learn how other people live in order to behave myself in front of them. This is very important because at a point you will reach the management level. And to be honest, when you reach that point, you need to listen to everybody. You need to practice this coaching that Ms. Badita talked about. So how I see it is what we have to do is to try to get as much as we can in regards to people, nationality and culture. For instance, I have experienced, I will give you just one example. I have worked with Indian crew, but India is such a huge country that even them in different side of the country, they live totally different. It's like a different world. So in order to understand them better, just try to see the person as it is. Maybe it was born in the north, now is living in the south, and so on. I come from the mountainside where people are very straight. They talk for themselves instantly. And when I came on the maritime environment, and I saw people so relaxed, sometimes they talk, sometimes they don't. For me, it was very strange. So I have experienced this unconscious bias even in my own country. Living with multinational crew on board is the most important thing that you can have. It's a blessing, believe me. You can get as much as you can from history, culture, traveling. I don't know, I love food, so I kind of try all the foods that they have all around the world. So it's a blessing. Think it this way, take the culture as it is. On the other hand, yeah, it's difficult because, they have their costumes and maybe they have their own traditions, which you have to respect. But think it's on both ways. Take the good part and try to understand the things that you have never seen before. And kind of that's about it. If you have any kind of questions for me, I will be here to pick them up. Maybe Ms. Dragomir can read for me because I'm using only my phone here.
Yes, unfortunately, we cannot see you so well, but we can hear you perfectly. If there is anyone of the webinar participants that would like to add something or to share something with us? So if not, well, Miss Alexandra Ciucanu, can you say some words of conclusion? And after that, I will pass the floor to Alexandra Badita, and slowly we will end this webinar.
I think there is, sorry, I think there is someone who wants to ask a question in the chat.
Oh, okay.
I see now that, yeah, I've seen somebody who raised the hand to tell us it's about attitude. Yeah, it is. It is indeed about attitude. It is about your grown. But you know what? If you start to coach yourself, you will understand that the person who has this attitude, it doesn't have it because this person is a bad person. Sometimes at sea we have bad situations. Maybe we have some situations at home and we snap. Maybe we have some situations on board, somebody is pushing us. Maybe sometimes the management is not the most friendly. So these people overcome some huge obstacles. So in order to get along and to understand that somebody is giving you attitude for a reason, try first of all, when you see the attitude, not to ignore it on, you know, on expressive way. Ignore it on your inner side. You see somebody giving you attitudes, maybe you look like you are a little bit stressed, maybe you don't understand for what you receive it, but on your inner self, try to calm yourself down and understand this person, maybe it's having an issue behind. So in order to conclude to this well-being, start attending stuff, start attending webinars, start attending coaching events, start implementing the books that you read, so you can be a better self. In order to expect from the others to be good with you, be first of all a better self. It kind of, that's about it.
I wrote you in the chat our email address, wista.romania@gmail.com. Okay, and we will do such webinars again, and hopefully we will have better connection. Hopefully the pandemic will be gone and everybody will be happy and more encouraged to do really, really great things. Alexandra Ciucanu, please say a concluding word.
So for all seafarers, I have a saying: find the best route to your next port of call, but behold, do not be afraid to use the wheel to alter the course towards another port if your port of call is not the one that you wanted to reach.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. Alexandra Badita, the second Alexandra, what are your concluding remarks?
Thank you so much. I would say to keep practicing and finding ways to connect with yourself, because it's really important, especially because now we only covered the introduction and the foundation, the basics of maritime coaching. And this means that you are first working on yourself first, so that this way you can improve your relationship with the people around you in your workplace and outside of the workplace. So make sure that you first of all take care of yourself and implement those techniques for your self-care, and then the relationship that you have with yourself will be mirrored in the relationship that you have with the other people.